Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. The Explorer of Horror here, Horror Boy, and today we're getting back to the Alien franchise. Slowly but surely getting this franchise done, and it is getting done, just at a very slow pace, and I apologize for that. But today we're going to be moving on to a movie that took a while to come out after Alien Resurrection. Of course, there was AVP and AVPR. Which, if you guys are wondering why I haven't covered those movies yet, it's because I'm waiting to review the Alien movies, Predator movies, and then I'll review AVP and AVPR. Kind of like when I did the Jason and Freddy reviews. I reviewed the Jason movies all the way up to the remake, but I had skipped the Freddy vs. Jason review, and then I had reviewed Nightmare on Elm Street all the way up to the remake, and then I went back and filmed the Freddy vs. Jason review. Just kind of keep it equal, not to give one franchise more levity over the other. So I'm going to finish these Alien reviews up. This is the final Alien review because I'm not going to be covering Covenant again. And if you guys want me to, you guys totally just let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see a review on Alien Covenant. But there's honestly a review up for it. I'll even probably leave a link in the description below to it. I've already said my thoughts on it. The only really things I would change in my thoughts about that movie is that it would probably be a little bit more negative as far as the story and the characters and the acting, and even when it comes down to lighting and stuff like that. A lot of negatives in that movie. Not a really big fan of Alien Covenant. I don't remember if I gave it a review or a rant, but honestly, if I would review it again, the only difference is that it'd be a rant because I'm not a big fan of Alien Covenant. But today we're getting to the 2012 film Prometheus, get a 7.0 on IMDb. Of course, is the prequel to Alien. It was a big deal when it came out, not only because it was a prequel to Alien, but also because Ridley Scott is involved with this film. And Ridley Scott had really strayed away from, these action, mystery, sci-fi, horror films for a while, and started doing other movies, and I really, really enjoy Ridley Scott's filmography. I really enjoy Gladiator. It's, a movie that I grew up with, and I really thought was a fantastic film. There's also been a lot of movies that he's been involved with. He was producer, I think also director of The Martian. Trying to get his director list here. Apparently there's a Gladiator 2 in the makes. I didn't know this. He made Exodus, Gods and Kings, which did I see that movie? I think I seen that a long time ago, but I don't remember it that much. I seen The Martian, really enjoyed The Martian, thought it was actually a really good film. Of course, Robin Hood, Body of Lies, American Gangster, A Good Year, Hannibal, Gladiator. Of course, made G.I. Jane, Black Hawk Down, Kingdom of Heaven. I can just go on and on. I really, really enjoy his films. And I know that I've probably covered his films or went over his films before, but I'll do it again because this guy is just amazing. I love Alien. Believe it or not, I have not seen Blade Runner, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. So Ridley Scott had not really made a sci-fi, futuristic, space-oriented film for a while, and people were really hyped about this movie. I remember when this movie first came out, there was a lot of hoopla around it. There was a lot of excitement about this movie, and I didn't see it when it came out, mainly because this came out when I was probably like 11 or 12, and I wasn't really into the Alien movies at that point. I'd only seen Alien and Aliens, so I wasn't really full-fledged in the series, and I also really this wasn't really a movie that caught my attention. Watched it years later, and I gotta say, because I found it in like a dollar store for like $6, so I got a steal on the movie. And Prometheus is weird for me because I feel like this movie has a lot of good stuff in it, a lot of great stuff in it. Just gonna adjust the camera real quick. Try to move that a little bit that way. No, there we go. But I feel like Prometheus has a lot of really, really good things in it, and a lot of great ideas, and it has a great universe that it establishes in this movie. Yeah, it is a prequel to Alien, but I like how they kind of did some different things with this movie. I will say this. Is it better than Alien 3? Yes. Is it better than Alien Resurrection? yes, to me this is a better movie than those movies. This is actually a movie I can sit down, and at least visually this movie is really appealing. Special effects, even down to the CGI, I think is really well done. The ideas in the movie and the plot I really got into. And I really think that this movie's biggest problem for me at least, for most people this is one of their positives. But for me, this should not have been a prequel to Alien. Mainly because you take out the spaceship, you take out all these old nods and winks to Alien, like the Weyland Corporation and its startup. You take out all that stuff and the startup of the androids and all that crap. And I don't mean to say crap because it's actually some really good lore. But if you take out all that stuff, you know, I think you could have really invented a brand new universe with this movie. Because really, there is no xenomorph in this movie until to the after credits or mid credits, whatever. There's no face hugger really in the movie unless you count that kind of face hugger prototype. There's no really big alien feeling things in this movie. Like I said, besides a couple of ideas. And I'm not a fan of these prototype things that this movie and Alien Covenant does. What I mean by that is the prototype xenomorphs and the xenomorphs from Covenant. I don't even remember what they're called. I actually like the idea of the engineers and the engineers being responsible for the beginning of humanity. And I like this idea that, you know, we would all think that humanity is this great thing that was created with such detail and such you know, wonder and mystery. But really in this movie, they kind of make like it was a mistake. This thing dumps over and the DNA somehow gets mixed into the humans, and it all links back to this planet and these people called the engineers. And basically this movie, the plot of the film, to get into the plot real quick, because this is going to be one of those reviews where I'm going to be stumbling a lot, because it's really hard to explain how I feel about this movie. So this might take a minute, and if it does, I apologize. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. But meaning this movie is complicated. Even more complicated than Alien 3, because at least Alien 3 I'm more like, yeah, it's just not a movie I enjoy that much. But with this movie, it's different. But basically, this group of scientists, they hear word about this transmission being found, and they link these together, these different pieces of clues together that ends up pointing them to the start of humanity. And their project gets funded by the Weyland Corporation. This android named David gets sent with this team out to this planet. And when they get there, they realize that there are these people there, you know, called the engineers, and a whole plan is set up to go and find this DNA and bring it back and figure out how humans stem from this place. Now, that part of the story I love. I love it. I think that this movie looks awesome. The planet has its own environment, its own, to me, its own flavor. You know, it wasn't like it was just another generic planet. Correct me if I'm wrong or not, but I think it's the same planet that Alien took place on, too. I'm not sure. But if it is, they did a great job of kind of doing something a little different with it. And if it isn't, then that's a pretty cool little idea for the way they did the planet in this film. But I do believe it's the same planet. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I can't remember if it's the same planet or not. Because in Alien, they find the ship in that movie, so I think it's the same planet. But they get there, and the cinematography is great. The way the planet looks is awesome. And they go on this ship, and there are these creatures on the ship that starts killing people. And one by one, a person gets infected, and you have these alien prototypes being born. Kind of, you're seeing the evolution of the xenomorph kind of taking place on this. And throughout the rest of the movie, these engineers start awakening. The Weyland guy, you find out, spoiler alert, you find this Weyland guy is kind of the enemy. You know, he was using these people to get there and find this so he can take all the credit for it. And he was wanting to figure out, since he's so old, you know, trying to figure out some of that stuff. I think so. I think it was trying to figure out how, because when he built the androids, he built them for certain reasons, and he was wanting to figure out if there was something greater than humans, you know. And if he found this to be a big historical event, and he wanted this before he died, and basically, there's a lot of plots in this movie that go over. You know, it goes over these characters called the engineers, the story of these people on the ship trying to figure out things, trying to make some new discoveries, trying to figure out where humans came from. And while they're doing that, people are getting infected. You have some crazy scenes. You have a lot of interesting effects and interesting creature designs. And basically, throughout the rest of the movie, more and more people get infected. We find out more and more stuff. And then, you know, it pretty much leads to the end of the movie. And I will say this. Script-wise, I think this is one of Ridley Scott's best scripts. I think it's an awesome idea of going back to the origins of humans and trying to figure out something a little bit different than we've always heard. Something a little bit different. And I like the alien designs of the movie because they really weren't like xenomorphs. And even the giant facehugger is more different than a xenomorph facehugger. It's different. It's just different. And I like the creativity of the movie. The creature designs, the way they're done, the death scenes are pretty brutal, and the CGI I think is used very well in this movie. It looks pretty decent. Love the atmosphere. Not a big fan of the score. To me, Alien has a beautiful score. Aliens has a wonderful score, and then Alien 3 has a decent score. For Alien Resurrection, I don't really remember that score. This movie doesn't really have a great score. It does drag a little bit. And that's coming from a guy who watched Aliens and Alien. You know, it does drag a bit. Not as bad as Alien 3, but it does drag a bit. It's a little bit slow at times. I like how they focus on this David character, this clone. I like that. I hate what they do with them later on, which I think is, you know, some BS. They pretty much just take everything that's built. Everything that is built in this movie about the David character is completely and utterly trashed in Alien Covenant. That's why I don't like that. That's one of the biggest reasons of why I do not like that movie. But in this movie, they actually make you care about him. He actually cares about the humans. He's a very good character. The lead girl, I think, is also a very, you know, good lead. Naomi Rapace. Naomi Rapace. I think she's a great lead. I think there's some other actors in the crew that I thought did a great job. And, you know, there's some just fantastic scenes. Like, there's a scene where Naomi Rapace figures out that her and this guy that was infected had sex, and that she's pregnant with this alien creature inside of her. So there's this crazy, crazy scene where she goes in, this little thing, and it cuts the alien out of her, and, like, keeps it in there in this little place so that it doesn't escape. And she has to, like, get her stomach stapled back together. It's a crazy scene. There's, you know, people coming back to the ship that are infected, and they're pretty much killing people, and they gotta get a flamethrower and kill this person. There's like a little snake creature that kills this guy, sprays this liquid on this other guy that melts his helmet and, like, instantly melts his helmet in. So you have little references to the xenomorph with the acid and the pre-xenomorph babies and the chest bursters that are kind of pre-chest bursters and the pre-xenomorphs. To me, that's a problem because, first of all, when you do that, I do not like the way they look. If you're trying to make them look like prototypes, they don't look very good, especially in Covenant. But these would lead on to Covenant. I don't like how they just tied it in with the Alien series. I don't think Alien needed a prequel, if you ask me. And that was a big selling point of this movie, that it was a prequel to Alien. We're going to explain things. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think it needed a prequel. Just like The Thing. The Thing did not need a prequel. It was not necessary. It did nothing. You know, The Thing came out a year before this. This came out a year after The Thing. And really, it did not need prequels to these franchises. Alien did not need a prequel. It really didn't. I just really did not care about these... about taking the engineers and putting them in the Alien universe and then trying to tie those together, and the David character kind of being responsible for certain things. I really just thought that was just like... It's like, dude, just make a movie called Prometheus, make a movie called Covenant, make another movie where you could make a trilogy of these movies and make these different aliens and different ideas. Don't make a prequel to Alien and have it be loosely kind of tied into the Alien series. It's like, yeah, I got the xenomorphs, but it's like it really could have been its own movie. And that's the thing that kills me about this movie, is that it could have been a fantastic masterpiece that could have been on the level of Alien. But I feel like certain designs I don't really like. The movie drags a little bit. The cast is all right, but it's not nearly as strong as some other movies' cast of characters. When the effects are there, they're pretty good. Most of the time the CGI, so I don't really think they hold up to the other movies, as well. To me, you have some twists and turns in there that I didn't really care for. I didn't care for the Wayland character and his origin. I didn't care. I didn't care about the origin of these androids and why Wayland made androids. I didn't care about that. So you have certain plot points and certain things that try to do that. I just was like, was that really needed? Was that really necessary? To me, what made this movie so great, though, is the atmosphere, the direction is fantastic. It feels like a massive movie. The effects are well done. Pretty crazy scenes. A lot of great body horror in this movie. Kind of reminded me of a David Cronenberg kind of movie. They implemented that a little bit in Covenant, a little bit. But to me, in this movie, it was like full-on body horror kind of stuff. So I like that. Kind of had a Cronenberg feel for a little bit. The origin of the humans, I like that idea. I like the idea of these people going to this planet and finding all this stuff, and some interesting ideas, some interesting death scenes. So overall, with me and Prometheus, it's kind of a wishy-washy kind of thing. I really enjoy this movie. I really do. But I cannot say that it's nearly as good as the first Alien. Just to me, it's not possible for me to say that. I will say it's one of the better ones in the series. It's definitely better than 3 and Resurrection. I'll even say that's probably better than Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Maybe better than AVP, but I don't know. AVP is a pretty decent movie in my opinion. But overall, Prometheus is actually a pretty interesting film. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. And yeah, so that's pretty much my last review on the Alien series. If you guys want to see my review on Alien Covenant, you guys can, but I've already done a review for that. I'll put that link in the description below, or at least I'll try to. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the review on Prometheus. Thanks for watching my reviews on the Alien side of the franchise. Let's get to the other side of this franchise review. Let's get to the Predator series. That's going to be fun. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review. The Explorer of Horror out. Horror Boy. We'll see you guys in the next video.